my brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1.
Shabbat Shalom, family of the Most High Yah. We welcome you to another Sword of the Spirit audio biblical teaching broadcast. And we are your hosts, the servants of Yah. We'd like to thank all of our greeters who are listening today and joining us on this Shabbat. Prina, are you in?
Yes, I am. Shabbat Shalom.
And how's your week going?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
All right, we're going to get started. For those of you who may be new, if this is your first time listening, we're going to start with our mission, which is two-folded. The first of that two-folded mission is to prepare hearts to seek the Torah or the law of Yah, and to diligently obey and teach the laws, commandments, statutes, and judgments of the Most High Yah. And the second part of that twofold mission is to dispel error and to replace it with truth. And our vision is ultimately to be successful in preparing other believers to go out and teach a pure Torah, the Most High's teachings and instructions to a spiritually dead and lost world, so that there will be a return unto the pure faith of Yahushua, the apostles, and the prophets. So with that being said, we're going to introduce what our show topic is going to be about today. Our mini lesson today, we're going to be breaking down and providing a very thorough understanding of the Ten Commandments. So many of us, we read the Ten Commandments, but we have no understanding. We have the surface understanding. For example, thou shalt not murder. But many people do not know that there are many ways to murder than just, quote unquote, for example, shooting someone with a gun. We're going to be breaking down from 1 to 10 what they mean in their true essence, and how many of us may be breaking them unknowingly. And so today's topic is called the Ten Commandments, a thorough breakdown. For our State of the Body panel discussion today, we're going to be discussing the condition of the church, or the so-called body of believers, and hopefully answering the question, are we witnessing the great apostasy? Are we witnessing the great falling away from the faith of our Messiah, as Scripture states? And if so, why? And our special guest speakers, and I say that plural with the S, we have a family, Brother Perry Gill and his wife, Sister Michelle Gill, who are going to share their journey into the truth. They're going to give their testimony and come on together as husband and wife and share their testimony of how they came into the truth of the Father's word. And just, as far as being married, what does that look like for a husband and wife who are both serving the Father in spirit and truth? And definitely, we know it's going to look a lot different from the marriages that we see today. And so, with that being said, we're going to get right into the panel discussion. Prina, due to the condition of the church, the so-called body of believers, what we're witnessing today, the great apostasy, the great falling away from the faith of our Messiah, do you think that the church has fallen away from the faith? Because we have to answer, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3 talks about the great apostasy and the great falling away. And I believe that it's begun. It tells us that do not be deceived, for that day shall not come except there be a falling away first. And I think that we are beginning to see a lot of the things that we've been reading about in Scripture come to fruition. We're starting to see that many are professing to believe, in our Messiah, and believe in the word of the Most High and be followers of his word. But we're seeing them live completely contrary to what the word states. So my question is, can one truly stray from the faith and still call themselves a true believer or follower of our Messiah? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, just starting off with a scripture, and then I'm going to get in what I believe. But 2 Timothy 3:1 and 5 read, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unset apart, without natural affection, addicted to lust, false accusers, without self-control, fierce, despisers of those that do good, traitors, hasty, boasters, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High Yah, having form of righteousness, but denying the power thereof. From such turning away." So just as you said, that the churches are, we see that they have the form of righteousness, but they're denying the power of the Most High, and in their lust in the churches. And that goes into what I believe. I truly believe that we are witnessing the times of the great apostate in the churches and the falling away of the body of Messiah. Just last week, we witnessed that for those of you that heard the show, the well-known Pastor Creflo Dollar, stated to his congregation that if we Christians should hope for victory over sin, we should not have any relationship with the law. So he's telling them, look, Yeshua died on the cross for us. He nailed the Big Ten to the cross, so we should not have any relationship with the law. He just threw the law away. He said JC died and freed us from the Big Ten and nailed the handwriting of the ordinance to the cross. Foolishness. That's just a great abomination that he preached to the congregation, and for the congregation to uphold this abomination, his abominable teachings, is showing us right here that they have fallen away from the Most High. They have fallen away from his laws and his statutes, because they're upholding what this pastor is teaching them. And they're not studying to show themselves, they're not studying to show themselves approved.
Yeah, those who are definitely listening to the foolishness definitely have fallen away. There's no way, even if I, did, because Paul's writings are hard to understand, but even if I didn't have the understanding of the law, anyone in their right mind knows that the 10 Commandments aren't done away with. And, as a believer, to sit there and listen to that, I'm wondering how many, followers he still has. And I hate to use the word followers, but we should be following the Mashiach and following the Most High. How many members, so to speak, did he still have? How many people actually had the courage to walk away from that after hearing that? And I wanted, because just in case if anyone did not, let me play this clip again of Creflo from last week. It's about 43 seconds. We're gonna play the clip again, and then we'll come right back.
So if we Christians hope for victory over sin, we shouldn't have any relationship with the law, not even the 10 Commandments. If we should hope for victory over sin, we should not have any relationship with the law, which is over 600 of them, and also not even the Big Ten. Not even the Big Ten. Ooh, I know that's just freaking your tradition out. Not even the Big Ten. Because Jesus died to free me from the Big Ten. And he nailed the handwriting of ordinances to the cross.
Okay, so we're back. It's kind of hard for me to listen to that without being angry.
Yeah.
Me being a true follower. Anyone who, he says you must, in order to serve him, you must be in spirit and truth. And just listening to that, knowing that it's all false. As believers, we're commanded to reject all falsehood and to hate all lies. And his word says that all those who love a lie will have their day in the lake as well.
Yes.
And this just kind of leads me to 1 Timothy 4:1-2, which says that in the latter times, which we are in those times right now, that some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. So we're just listening to that again, and him saying not only is the law done away with, but the 10 Commandments are done away with as well. And Yeshua died, and he set us free from the 10 Commandments. And this is, 1 Timothy 4:1-2, this is an example of what we just heard with Creflo Dollar is an example of the latter times where some are departing from the faith. And I don't know if he was ever in the faith to begin with, because I haven't heard any truth ever come out of his mouth. But those who are listening to him, because he's feeding them things that they want to hear, that, feeds the error of their own heart, that sounds good. But this isn't a perfect example of those who are departing from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits. So he has a seducing spirit. See, a lot of ministers, they know how to get up in front of their congregations, for whatever reason, our ministers or our pastors, so-called black men, African Americans, we think that when we're yelling and screaming and falling out and foaming at the mouth and running up down the aisle and entertaining, that this is preaching. Oh, pastor sure did preach today. Your pastor sure did preach. Hadn't read one lick of scripture, but he preached. He got up there and entertained you. That's what he did. But giving heed to seducing spirits, listening to lies. He said some are going to leave the faith. They're going to leave the true word of the Most High, and they're going to start listening to these seducing spirits, these lying spirits, doctrines of devils.
Yes.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy. Everything that he says he's a hypocrite for the simple fact that he says that Yeshua, so-called our Messiah, so-called nailed the law as well as the 10 Commandments to the cross. So if the law is nailed to the cross and he set us free from that, and we don't have to do that, then why is it that you're getting the tithe? Because he had a video out there stating that if anyone didn't give the tithes, he would line them all up and have them shot.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you ever see that video? Okay, he said he would line them all up and have them all shot dead, that a buzzer or something would go off and say that this is somebody who has a tithe, and then they will get shot on the spot. So my thing is the tithes are part of the law.
Yes, it is.
Okay? We don't have a Levitical priesthood, number one, so you can't be taking the tithes anyway. The Mashiach is not our high priest. But even if that was the case, the tithes are part of the law. So if he set us free from that, then why are you lining up people if they don't tithe and say they need to be shot dead? They got ATMs in the churches now.
Yes,
it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous what we see going on now.
Yeah.
And so my whole thing was, can someone that's really of the Mashiach truly stray away from the faith? And my answer is no. Because 1 John 2:19 says they went out from us.
Yeah.
But they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us, but they went out that it might be made manifest or that it may be revealed. They were not of us. So those of you, you may have people, and even me, this is 11 years for me in this walking in the truth of the Father's word. And there were people who started out with me in the beginning, going hard for this truth, that have departed from the faith. Now they're off into Egyptology. They don't even believe it anymore. They're going up doing other things. So they started out, and then you wonder, you grieve over it because you want everyone to continue to stay on that path, but they're no longer on that path, and they left. Right. Kind of like the parable of the seed sower. It depends on the ground that seed is sown on, because I'm going to read something in a minute where those that truly belong to him, Satan can't snatch them away. Yeah. He's only able to snatch those away who are not grounded and rooted, and those that are not of him can't come anyway. So this is the reason why, the Messiah says, 1 John 2:19, he says, they went out from us, but they weren't of us. He said, for if they had been of us, he said, they would have no doubt continued with us. So those who are leaving, yes, you're going to grieve if they go, but hey, let them go. So that it might be revealed that they weren't of us anyway, because if they were, they would have never left to begin with. Now, in John 6:36 through 44, I'm going to just read a couple of verses. The Messiah says, but I said unto you that you also have seen me and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no way cast out. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone who seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up at the last day. No one can come to me except the Father, which hath sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up in the last day. So if we listen to this again, he said that this was the Father's will. Mm-hmm. Okay? This was the will of the Most High. He says that no one can come to him except the Father who sent him, draw him. And then he says, I'm going to raise him up in the last day. And this is going to get off into the parable, not the parable of, but the separating the wheat from the tares. That's what we're seeing. When you see people leaving the faith and they go off, know that they were never his. And that's the grievous part of this, because a lot of them are our very own family members, mother, brother, sister, cousin. But he's only going to take one or two from a household. Everyone is not coming along. It's only going to be a remnant. It's only a remnant that truly loves the Most High, and I mean love him through obedience to his word. Everyone does not belong to him. There are many pretenders calling on his name, and we're going to get into that when we break down these 10 commandments in a minute. Calling on his name, quoting scriptures, quote unquote, dressing apart, looking holy. Mm-hmm. Outwardly, they look set apart, but inwardly, they're filthy. Everyone, again, is not coming. And this is the reason why he said it's the Father's will that they leave. He said so that it might be revealed or made manifest that they were not of us. So when we think about the Father's will, his will is going to be done no matter what. No one is coming. If you're being drawn to the Father, you're being drawn for a reason. And what did the Messiah say at the end of that in John 6? He says, I will raise him up at the last day. So in the latter times, I'm getting ready to raise you up so that you can do the will of the Father. Those that are not being raised up, what are they doing? They're walking away. They're leaving because it's being made manifest and revealed to you, those who are truly serving him with a fervent heart, that they're not of us. They sometimes you got to let some people go.
Yeah, you do.
And when you read further down in verse 63, it said it is the spirit that quickens. To quicken means to give life. He says the flesh profiteth nothing, but the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. He says, for Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. And he said, therefore I said unto you that no man can come unto me except it be given to him of my Father. And it says, and because of this saying, at that moment, many of his disciples walked away. They turned away and walked with him no more. Then Yeshua said unto his 12, will you also walk away? So many don't believe, and that's the reason why they're leaving, because they're not of us. And Yahushua already knew who they were that didn't believe, because it was the Father's will for them to walk away so that it could be revealed to us that they don't belong.
Yeah.
And that's why he said, I'm going to raise you up in the last day. He says in the latter days, meaning the last days, in 1 Timothy 4:2, that some will depart and give heed to seducing spirits. This is the will.
Yeah.
So he's letting them go so that it be revealed that they need to go. And so in the last days, he's raising us up. And in the latter days, you're also seeing those who do not belong. Why? Because this great apostasy or the great falling away represents the will of the Most High. It represents the time that our Messiah is going to separate the wheat from the tares. The wheat are those who belong and are sown by our Messiah and are of the Most High, and the tares are those that are sown and that are of the devil. And in Matthew 13, verses 24 through 30, it speaks of the wheat and the tares. And we hear that, and when you read this, that the Messiah says that he's going to allow the wheat and the tares to grow together until the end of this age. That's why he said, I'm going to raise you up in the end. And if you know anything about wheat and tares, when they grow up together. Once they lock, you can't tell the difference between the two until the wheat matures. Then you're able to see it. But to pull it up along with it, it will be detrimental to the wheat. So he says, I'm going to wait until the end, and then I'm going to separate them. So you're seeing a lot of people that are around you right now, maybe your very own family members that are tares. That's a very hard concept to accept because we love our family members. You know what I'm saying? Yes. We love our mom. We love our dad. We love our brothers, our sisters, our sons and our daughters, our cousins. We love our aunts and uncles. We love our family members. We love our friends, those that are dear to us. Many of those people that you love, listen to me, those of you who are listening and those who will be listening to this recording, many of those people that you love are tares. Many of them, was the will of the Father for them to walk away. That's why they don't want this. They don't accept it. Because the Most High, Yah and Yeshua, they're separating the wheat and the tares. He's been allowing them to grow up together with you. They were in your very own household. They took care of you. They watched your butt. They changed your diapers. They played arcade and video games with you. They went out to dinner. They went to movies. They loved you. A lot of them, the Mashiach is going to separate from you in the last days. We are in the last days.
Yes, we are.
It's the time of the harvest at the end. And until the end, you're not able to distinguish the wheat from the tare until the maturity. The Mashiach knows. He said, I knew from the beginning. Who believed not? He already knew who was going to believe. People try to use the man that was on the quote-unquote cross, and they say, oh, well, he died, so I can play around with my salvation. He accepted him, and at the end with I was like, okay, you go ahead and play Russian roulette with your salvation if you want, live a simple life, and then wait till you go ahead and play that deathbed salvation if you want to. But he said, I knew from the beginning who was going to believe and who didn't. He knew who was going to. And at that time, he said many of them turned away, and they didn't walk with him anymore.
Mhm.
So, many despise the name of Yah, despise the ways of Yah, who he is, and everything that he represents, and don't even know it. Many, what is it that you allow to fill your mind and your heart more than you do Yah?
Yeah.
Because the problem that I'm seeing today, it isn't a lack of zeal, because we have the zeal. Black people, we have the zeal. We got the zeal, okay? But the lack of knowledge of who he is missing.
Yes.
We do not realize the greatness of he who sits on the throne. And we don't realize that everything that is in this earth is dust and is going to rot and it's going to be destroyed. And you're going to be destroyed with it if you don't repent. The Most High is something or someone or is it our power that you can just do one day of the week, okay, I'm going to go to church on Sunday, and then the rest of the week you're going to live contrary to his word.
Right.
Many of you need to know. Go ahead, Prina.
No, and I just want to, to add, too, just a lot of times I know newcomers are coming in and they really don't know the truth, and they sit under these pastors and they want to learn the truth. But a lot of this, we have to think logically, too. You have to use common sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you, like, for example, when Creflo said, Yeshua nailed it to the Big Ten, to the cross. But then you got to ask yourself, if Yeshua knew that at his death that he was going to free us from the Big Ten, nail it to the cross, why did he spend all of his life, preaching on the commandments and repenting?
Yeah.
What was it necessary? Why was it necessary for him to preach the commandments and to repent, for the kingdom of Yah is at hand? Why would he do that? A lot of times we don't use our basic common sense to help us maneuver through the word, especially when we coming in the truth. And I just, because Yeshua, when the lawyer asked, when they were mocking Yeshua and they were tempting him, and they asked him, which is the greatest commandment of the law in Matthew. And when Yeshua answered, he said, you shall love the Most High with all your heart and with all your soul and all your mind, for this is the first great commandment. And the second is like unto it, to love your neighbors and as thyself. And these two hang all the law and the prophets. So sometimes we got to go back in the scriptures and read what Yeshua thus said. Yeshua spoke because he only came to do the Father's will, like you said.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate that, a lot of us are falling away because we believe in pastor and not getting in his word too. And yes, there is a lot of falling away, like you said, with the wheat and the tare, and I do really believe we in the last day, and that is occurring to this day.
Yeah. Many of you really need to know who it is that you're serving.
Mhm.
When you have just enough moral, to keep you comfortable in your sins, then you need to know the God that you're serving, because it's not the one true power, Most High Yah. What is it that occupies your heart? Because all of the things that you know to be true, out of all the things that you know to be true, but refuse to give up and to repent from, this only tells everyone how much you despise his name, how much you despise everything that he represents. Because I just recently, the Super Bowl, we had that, and the NBA thing they just had, the finals are going to be coming up, March Madness coming up. People are going to be setting their VCRs, not VCRs, but DVD players. They're going to be setting, setting it, recording it, But how excited is everyone about the Most High Set Apart Day? Mm-hmm. How many people are excited about the upcoming Shabbat, the Sabbath, the seventh-day Sabbath, like they are about Super Bowl? you know, like they are about the NBA Finals. You know, how many people are excited? How many people set their watches or their time clocks or whatever to study the Word like you do for everything else to make sure you don't miss it? How many of you do that? We would never openly say that this is more important or this is number one or more important than Yah. We'll never say it with our mouth, but we do it in our life every day when we walk in continuous disobedience to His Word. So you need to ask yourself, what is it that Yah requires from me? And I'm not talking about what your pastor told you, because we know all about them silly little preachers and old 5-minute prayers and quote a few scriptures here, and they telling you that you're going to be blessed no matter what you do, because that's a lie. And the sad thing is that, you know, most of the world love the lies that are being preached to them. They love them. Yeah. And you know, they have enough religion that's going to send them straight to the lake. And the Most High, He's warned us. He has warned us in 2 Thessalonians about the strong delusion that He Himself is going to send, okay, to all those who love lies, you know, because they have no love for the truth. And what they want is nothing but the lies that are being taught to them. And, you know, Yeshua, you know, He promised us eternal life, but we have to be obedient. We got to learn what He requires. We can't do what we want to do. You know, people don't want the truth because they want to just be religious enough to, you know, to soothe their beliefs, not even knowing that their willingness to continue to heap to lies, even when that lie has been exposed as a lie, even though they've been given revelation of what the truth is, they still want to continue in it. And this again shows the Most High how much you despise Him, how much you despise Him. And people say, oh, I don't despise. Yes, you do. If you can't let go of those things that He has already told you to let go of, well, I didn't know about that. Okay, well, what about when you did know about it? What about when He revealed it to you? What about when He sent someone to you and then you found out that it was true and then you continued in it anyway? Yeah. You know, the majority of Christianity have so many idols in their hearts that they don't even realize that not only is the Most High Yah not number one and number two, He's not even first or second in life. He's not even third or fourth. Yeah. You know, we need to be asking, look, you know, am I giving you everything? Am I giving you everything that I have with the truth that you've given me? Ask yourself that. Those of you who are listening, am I giving you everything with the truth that you've given me? We need to ask Yah to teach us His ways and realize we're nothing but specks of dust. That's it. Mist. And many love the idea of serving Yah. They want to get caught up in the theatrics, the dress. Oh, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm chosen. I want to wear the tassels. I want my beard to fall. I want to wrap my head up. They want to do all of that. They love the idea of serving Yah and returning back to the covenant and returning back to the culture of how we live, but they aren't ready for the reality of serving Yah, what the sacrifices that it's going to take to serve Him. You know, we need to deal with the fact, and I am kind of preaching a little bit right now because it's being put on my heart. You know, we need to deal with the fact that we are being confronted, and I don't like to call Him God, but we are being confronted with a power that demands everything from us. We need to deal with the fact we're being confronted with a power. If He is the God of Israel, the Father, the Most High, we need to be confronted with the fact that He demands everything from us. that we're being confronted with who he is, and he doesn't share. He says, my glory, my high esteem, I'm not giving to another. He has to be first. And if your heart has been regenerated, if your heart has been changed, then you should be saying, Amen, so be it. Let your will be done. For he is worthy of all of it, to alone to be praised, to the highest esteem. But in these latter times, as Scripture prophesies, many are falling away. They've fallen away from the faith. And this is why we don't see the set-apart spirit of Yah operating in these churches. This is why they have to do all sorts of entertainment. You know, they got to teach all this smooth doctrine. You know, they got to have the mind ministry. They got to have all these, you know, so-called gospel preachers. They got to be cartwheeling down the aisle. They got to yell and scream at you. They got to do all of this to tickle the ears of people in these churches because they're trying to keep a dead corpse alive. That's why the Messiah said, let the dead bury the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this to kind of end it, but it's better to be an atheist who claims nothing of Yah in front of Yah than to claim Yah and enter into that claim half-heartedly, doing absolutely nothing and living completely contrary to his word and making excuses. I'm going to repeat it again. It's better to be an atheist who claims nothing of Yah in front of Yah than to claim Yah, to claim you are of him, to claim you are a follower of him, to claim you love him, and then to enter into that claim half-heartedly, doing absolutely nothing, living completely contrary, with no remorse for the things that you do, and then make excuses for it. That's what gets me so upset. Yeshua even said, I'd rather that you were cold or hot, because you're neither cold or nor hot. He says you're lukewarm. He said, I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. So if you think you're sitting on the fence and being lukewarm, he says, I'm going to get rid of you too. Either you for me or you against me. You either hot or you cold. He said, if you are hot, then be hot. He said, I wish you was just one or the other. Either be on fire for me or get out of my face. He said, but to be lukewarm, sitting in the middle, those are those people, again, that's claiming to be Yah, but living half-heartedly for him, not doing anything that he says, living your life completely contrary. You're lukewarm. He says, I'm going to spew you out my mouth. He says, be one or the other. And many of you are only alive because the air is free.
Mm-hmm.
You're useless. And it's time for the true believers and the true followers of the Most High and Yahushua to put on the whole armor of Yah. That's why the name of our show is called Sword of the Spirit, because we're about the word. And it's time for those who are the true followers to take a stand for righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
So to all of you who are listening, we mean to offend unto salvation. If you claiming Yah, then be about Yah and everything that represents who he is, and stop claiming them all together. That's my whole point. This is the same thing that our Mashiach is saying. I wish you was either cold or hot. Look, be one or the other. He said, don't be lukewarm. Don't give me a half, you know what. I don't want that. Either you on fire for me or you're not. So, again, who are you serving? Because you need to know your heart. And I hope that everyone listening will truly take a look, and I'm talking about all of us, truly take a fine comb and look at your life. Are you giving the Most High your best? How much time do you spend studying? How much time do you devote to the things of the Most High? How much time do you devote to becoming stronger in the Word? Because I'm afraid, because the body is not ready. When I see the foolishness that's going on, that's coming out of these pastors' mouth, and I see so many people talking about, oh, I know him, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, and died and laid to the side, or whatever else they say, all these catchy cliches. All of that, but you sitting up listening to somebody talking about the commandments done away with, and you talking about, I don't get it. But with that being said, let me get to the mini lesson, because I want to be sure, because we have our special guest speakers, the Gill family, are going to be calling in about 20 minutes, and I want to be done. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Prina, do you have any other words or saying on this? Because I just felt led to say that.
No, I don't. Thank you for allowing me to say. Okay.
All right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute you. We're going to go right into this mini lesson. Last week's lesson, just a quick, before we get into today's mini lesson, last week's mini lesson, we talked about returning into the laws, statutes, and judgments of the Most High, and we spoke about how important that it is for the Most High's people to return unto His laws, and further discuss what is it that you must do now that you come into the revelation of the Most High's truth, and how to faithfully serve Him according to His word. And if you didn't catch that, then you can listen to our fourth audio broadcast, and you can find that on YouTube via the Daughter of Yah channel, as well as www.servantsofyah.webs.com, and you can also catch it on there as well. All right, this is our fifth show, and again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's listening. Thank you for joining us today. Today's lesson and mini lesson is called the Ten Commandments, a thorough breakdown. So many of us read the Ten Commandments, and a lot of us have a surface understanding, and I did too, at one time, of what His commandments are. But it goes so much deeper. And I'm going to read Matthew 22:37 through 40, which reads, Thou shalt love Yah with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. So my sister Prina just got finished speaking about that a few seconds ago. Thou shalt love Yah with all thy heart, all thy soul, and all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So the first command was to love the Most High, Yah, with all our heart, our soul, and our mind. That means with everything you got in you. In a nutshell, that's what that means. That's the first commandment. And the second is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Mean treat others the way you want to be treated. And then it says, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So the Ten Commandments are an outline of the entire law itself. I'm going to repeat that again. The Ten Commandments are an outline of the entire law itself. The first four teaches us how to love and honor the Most High Yah. That's where you get the first, that's where you get thou shalt love Yah with all thy heart, mind, all thy heart, soul, and mind. That's where you get that. That's the first, and that's the great commandment, to love Yah with all your heart, soul, and mind. So the first four commandments, which we're going to be going through momentarily, teaches us how to love and honor the Most High Yah with all of our heart, soul, and mind. And the remaining six of those Ten Commandments teaches us how to love and treat our brethren. And that's where you get the second part of Matthew 22:37 through 40, which reads, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So let's start breaking these down. We're going to just go through these. I'm going to try to get through them 15 minutes because I know sometimes I can be long-winded. So when our callers call in at 3, we can have time to hear their testimony. And we welcome everyone to please ask questions, anything like that. So the first commandment, I am your Father who brought you out of Egypt. Everyone could actually turn. I want everyone to turn, if you have your Bibles, turn to Exodus chapter 20, because we're going to be reading the 10 Commandments. So I would like for everyone to follow along. You may have a different version depending on, if you're reading the King James Version or the Hebrew Roots Bible, which I'm reading. I'm going back and forth between the Hebrew Roots as well as the King James Version. But Exodus chapter 20, if you're there, I'm going to go ahead. Exodus chapter 20, verse, the first command is, he says, I am Yah, your father who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. This is the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me, meaning before my face. So, what does that mean? Because people say, well, I don't have any God. I love him. That's the only one. I go to church on Sunday. That's who I pray to. I pray to Jesus. And number one, he never told us to pray to him, to the Son. Many in Christianity, and this is a mistake that in an era, pray to the Son when the Messiah said, you pray our Father. We're not supposed to be worshiping the Messiah as a deity in that way. We're not supposed to be celebrating holidays. When we get, or our traditions, birthdays, holidays, pagan holidays, all of those things break the first commandment, because all of those holidays come from Babylonian customs, and it honors different gods. All of those holidays, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's, when the January 1st is not the New Year's, and the month of the bee, which is March, April, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, Labor, all of them. You can do the research yourself. All of those holidays are in honor of pagan gods. So we do not honor other gods. I don't honor other, because there's only one power, and that's the Most High Yah. And so I'm not giving honor, because it says he's a jealous power, and he's not going to give his praise to another. He said, I am Yah, your father, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. I'm the one that did that. I'm the one that you made a covenant with in Exodus 19, 3-8. You said all that Yah has said we will do. So we can't celebrate holidays. So those of you who are new coming into the truth, you're going to have to let go of celebrating holidays. Okay, birthdays, Queen is celebration, honor the Queen of Heaven. If you want to tell somebody happy birthday or acknowledge, and be thankful that they're here another day, that's fine. But the birthday cakes with the candles and all that, we don't do that. We don't do that. Even Job, when his children was celebrating their birthday, and the house fell on top of them. He said he knew that they were doing something wicked because they were celebrating each one on his day. When we put other things or people before Yah, or we give more honor to things, they can easily become our God. Money can be your God. We see that going on in the churches with greed. That money is their God, and they worship and serve the God of money. So they'll tell you whatever you need to hear so you can give your money to them. They don't care if you go to the lake of fire for it, because first of all, you should be studying to show yourself approved unto the Most High. that you wouldn't be deceived if you were studying and you knew the word for yourself and you weren't going around saying, Pastor said. So anything or anyone that we give more honor to, and we're leaving the Most High out. I know we get busy because I get busy a lot too. I have a lot going on. But anything that you give, and you know in your heart, if you give Yah your best, what are you giving most of your time to? Are you willing to set aside those lesser things, less important things to be able to give Yah more of your time? If you're not doing that, you need to do that because he's supposed to be first. So he says, you shall know the gods before me. Let's go to the second commandment. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I, Yah, your Father, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, showing mercy to thousands to those who love me and keep my commandments. So again, this is what happened with the children of Israel. The iniquities of our forefathers passed on. We have what you call the curses of Deuteronomy 28, which identifies who the true seed really are in this earth. So making carved images, we should not carve out and wear images of crosses, a cross. That is not his symbol, number one. Those of you who think that the Star of David, that has nothing to do with us. That has to do with the synagogue of Satan. Okay? Has nothing to do with, David was not given a symbol of a star that represents Israel. So that's an image. He says that you shall not make an image, a carved image, or anything that is in the likeness of heaven above, the earth beneath, that's in the water under. You shall not bow down and serve them. With relics, dead bones, any images or anything that's in heaven or earth or underneath the earth, Yah does not want us worshiping or giving honor to any of these images. You should not be wearing no cross around your neck. First of all, he's not on the stake anymore. He's not on the tree. He has risen. He said, curses anything still hanging on the cross. So what are you wearing it for? He's not there. Also, when we do not keep his word, when we do not keep his commandments, we show him that we do not love him, but rather hate him. This is why he say he shows mercy to the 1,000 who love me and keep my commandments. He's equating loving him with keeping his commandments. And he's equating iniquity. If you know what iniquity is sin. Sin is lawlessness. 1 John 3 and 4. Sin is the transgression of the law. So he's saying the sins of the fathers go to the children, to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, meaning those who sinned against me, those who broke my law. So angels, if you got angels and Jesus in the manger and all that stuff in your house, and Egyptian carved out masks and Mardi Gras necklaces and all those things, you have to be careful of the things that you bring in your house because you bring spirits in. And I can't remember where, I know this was with Joshua and they were, someone brought something, a curse, back into the tent. And many of the children of Israel were slaughtered because of it. And the Most High said that there's something accursed in the camp. Someone brought something cursed back. You cannot go to Africa, go to Mardi Gras, bring some African mask back, and then go put it in your house. I'm so when people go on trips, and people say, oh, I brought you something back. I got to see what this is. If it ain't a T-shirt, I need to see what this is because I'm not getting ready to put this up in my house because I don't know what spirit was prayed up into that mask, Mardi Gras necklaces and all that stuff. Don't even get involved in that. Okay, and I want to make note, because the Most High says we should not make carved images, like angels. So people want to put up angels in their house and have them hanging from the ceiling, and, statues of and pictures of Yeshua and so-called the Most High. No one has seen him. I don't even care if you so-called got a picture of and it's supposed to be a black Yahushua. You should not have that image up in your house. He says don't even have an image of anything that's in a likeness of anything that's in the heaven above. And we know that he's in heaven. He's sitting at the right hand of the Father. You should not have up no pictures of Yahushua in your house, because that ain't him in the first place. It doesn't even matter if it's a black man. Yes, we know he was a black man, but that's not him. He didn't ask you to put up no image of him. He said don't even do it. Don't be putting up pictures of angels, things that look heavenly like. Don't do any of that. This is the reason why people with the images with the Christmas trees and all that, all of these holidays come with carved images of idols that the Most High said to stay away from. Celebrating holidays most likely break not only the first, but the first and the second. And I want to make note about this, making carved images. The Roman Catholic Church, I don't know if anyone has ever read their Bibles, but they eliminated the second commandment so that they can continue their pagan worship of bowing down and kneeling before images, such as the Virgin Mary, St. Peter, and all of that. In addition, then, in order to maintain the Ten Commandments, they deceitfully split the Ten Commandments into two parts. Pick up a Catholic Bible, and that's what you will see. They completely eliminated the second commandment about not making carved images, because we know they bow down and they kiss these images till the paint and everything goes off of them, of the statue. They do it over in Israel, where they're over there kissing the walls and stuff like that. We're not supposed to be doing that. The third commandment: you shall not take the name of Yah your Father in vain. For Yah will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Now, I know that we're coming back to the truth of who the Most High is. And some will say, well, his name is Yah, and some say his name is Yahweh, and someone say his name is Yahuwah, and then someone say, oh, it's Ahaya. Okay, we know that Yah is in the name. Okay, self-existing or eternal one. But we know that Jesus is not his name. Lord is not his name, because these are titles. These are titles. It's a little bit deeper than just calling him the names of pagan gods. When you can also take the name of Yah in vain when you're swearing. And you send some, I swear. He says let swearing not be among those in Israel. We're not supposed to be swearing, because we don't have the power to do anything. It's God willing. When we loosely misuse the name of Yah, that's also taking his name in vain. When we usually, call his name in everyday simple speech or conversation, a lot of people wanted to follow his name and abusively with profanity. And then finally, and most importantly, you take the name of Yah in vain, just like I said, by the way that you behave, by the way that you live your life. You can honor or dishonor him by the way that you live your life. I used this example before. I use it again. If you're claiming Yah, you're claiming you follow the Most High Yahushua, and you're living contrary to his word, you're taking his name in vain. You're making his name, he says, blasphemed among the heathen. Because you're saying one thing, but you're doing something different. Just like me, I'm a mother. I have a son. And if my son goes to school or he goes out in the street, and then I get that phone call, oh, well, you need to come pick your son up we have him in jail because he got caught stealing. Okay, now you embarrassing me because I'm your mother. You represent me. You're going around and you using my last name. You're telling people that I'm your mom, and now they're looking at me like, ooh, because I'm an educator. And when I see kids cutting up and misbehaving and doing certain things in school, and then I'm thinking, boy, I wonder, who's raising him at home? Why is he now you're looking at the parents sideways. And this is the same thing with the Most High. If we say that we are of him and we should be following him wholeheartedly, following him, and not just honoring him by saying one thing, but then living another. And I'm going to read something in Romans chapter 2. Where he says, behold, you call yourself an Israelite and trust in the Torah and boast in Yah. And because you know his will and the things that must be observed being instructed out of the Torah. And you have confidence in yourself that you are a guide of blind ones and a light to those in darkness, an instructor of foolish ones, a teacher of children. You are the pattern of knowledge and of the truth as embodied in the Torah. Now you teach others, but you fail to teach yourself. You preach that man should not steal, yet you steal. You preach that man should not commit adultery, and you commit adultery. You despise idols, and yet you rob temples. You are proud of the Torah, yet you dishonor Yah through the breaking of the Torah. He says in verse 24 in Romans 2, he says, for the name of Yah is blasphemed among the nations through you, even as it has been written. So he says, so when you claiming that you are a follower of Yah, yet everything you do is contrary to his word, he says you make the name of Yah blaspheme among the nations, meaning the other nations are looking around like, who is the God that he's serving? He's claiming the name of Yah, and look how he's acting. He says, you make my name blaspheme among the nations. So that's the whole thing as far as the third commandment of taking his name in vain. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yah. In it you shall do no work, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gate. For in 6 days Yah made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it, meaning made it set apart. So the Sabbath day is, first of all, I want to make clear that everyone knows that it is not on Sunday. Okay? The Sabbath day is the seventh day, from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. He never made Sunday set apart. I'm not going to go into a whole lesson on the Sabbath because next week we are going to talk about it thoroughly. But on the seventh-day Sabbath, we should not be working. There are many who have to work and they have jobs, if you're doctors, police officers, but, and there are many who are coming into the truth who may have to work on the Sabbath. I'm not going to sit here and tell someone to quit their job, but you need to make sure that if you do, that with all your heart, mind, and soul, you should be trying to keep it. You should be making sure that night before you've made your lunch that you're not buying or selling on the Sabbath, that you're not cooking, cleaning, because there is no cooking or cleaning on the seventh-day Sabbath. We should be spending time with the Most High in some type of way, whether it's fellowshipping with like believers, studying. He says, well, there's two or more gathered in his name, he is in the midst, studying his word. If you don't have anyone to study with, then study alone. For many years, I had to get by myself and seek the Most High's face to come into the understanding of his truth. This is not a day where we should be going to the movies and shopping and eating at restaurants which would allow others to work for you. Because someone will say, well, someone's treating me. No, you're allowing someone else to break the Sabbath. Just because they want to break the Sabbath doesn't mean you allow other people to cause you to sin against it. You can't go to I'm not working, I'm just going to see a movie. Okay, but people have to work to serve you. This is why he said, no one that's in your gate should be doing any work. He says, not your sons, not your daughters, not your male servant, not your female servants, not your cattle. So not even an animal. If you have a farm, they're not to be doing any work on the Sabbath. If you have a male servant or a female servant or a maid or a butler, if you got it like that, they're not supposed to be working. So if I go to a restaurant, who do I have come and take my order? I have a servant. I either have a male servant or a female servant. They're going to come and take my order. Now they're doing what? They're working for me, and then you have to exchange, because there is no exchanging of money, buying and selling on the Sabbath. And we should be spending time with the Most High in his word, resting, and enjoying this day. I look forward to his set-apart day where I don't have to do anything. If you're a mom, and I'm not going to leave out the dads too, but, cooking throughout the week, cleaning throughout the week, doing homework, working. We have all these things that we're doing. This is one day where I don't have to lift a fork. I'm good. And I can just enjoy fellowshipping, doing what I'm doing now, which I love to do, on his set-apart day. And this is the day that the Most High has set apart because he himself rested on this day. And we want to show our obedience to him and show that we are set apart unto him and we serve and honor him. We're in a covenant relationship with him. And we're recognizing him as sovereign and as our creator. And it shows us who we belong to and who we serve and obey. The fifth commandment, honor your father and your mother that your days may be long upon the land which God giveth thee. So we are to honor and respect and be obedient to our parents, children. And even when you get older, you can, you do your own thing. You turn 18. You may not do everything that your parents want you to do, but you don't treat them disrespectfully. You still honor your parents. The scripture even says when an older person walks in the room, you're supposed to stand up. So I haven't always agreed with everything that my mom says or agreed with everything that my dad says or my grandparents when they were alive. But you're still supposed to show respect to your parents, even if they're wrong. You don't curse your parents out. You don't raise your voice at your parents and scream at your parents and talk to them any kind of way. You keep the integrity of your family and honor your family, and you don't publicly, like people do now, they get on Twitter, they get on Facebook and publicly smear and disrespect their parents. We're not supposed to do that. You may not always get along with your parents. They may have done you wrong, even if they're wrong. You still have to say, you know what, let me just get off this phone. Or, Mom, Dad, okay, we might not agree, but, I'm going to go now. Because you don't want to, your days will be cut short when you dishonor your parents. Because it's a sign of us dishonoring the Most High. He's very serious about honoring our parents. And children now, they're disobedient to their parents. Other nations, they go and they talk to their kids and tell their mom to shut up. Come on, Mom, I'm going to do what I want to do. Shut up, Mom. Get out of my room. I've seen so many shows where they telling the parents to get out their room, the house that they're paying bills, to get out their room. You can't do that. And Israel, I notice now that we're following after the other nations, but we're not supposed to do that. And then when they're older, taking care of your parents in their time of need, being there for them, because your days will be cut short if you don't. The 6th commandment, you shall not murder. Now, this is, some Bibles may say, thou shalt not kill, but it's thou shalt not murder. You shall not shed innocent blood. Okay? Innocent blood. Abortion is considered murder. I don't care what they tell you, if it's not up to 4 months, then it's not. No. That is a child. Abortion is murder. Taking an innocent life is murder. However, manslaughter does not constitute as murder because it was an accident. But you can murder someone with your mouth, and many people don't understand that. Now, somebody coming in, they trying to kill you, and I know they got laws now where somebody can come in your house and they're threatening your family. They have a gun and they get ready to kill your son, and then if you kill them, then they locking you up. Something is wrong with this country. That person is asking to get laid out because I'm going to protect mine. You're not innocent if you break in my house and you trying to kill my child or you trying to harm my family. You're not innocent. But moving on with this murder, murder is not always taking a life, but you can murder with your mouth or with your body. Example, telling a lie or starting rumors that can cause someone to be murdered because it's something that you may have said that maybe you didn't have no knowledge of to be true, but you said it, and now this person is dead because of something that you said. In addition, on the issues of capital punishment for certain offenses, the Most High permitted capital punishment. Shedding innocent blood, okay, if you hate your brother in your heart, Mashiach said you have already committed murder because murder most always begins in the heart or the mind. For example, Cain. You say, who's the first murderer? Murder always starts with either envy, hatred, jealousy. Because this is how Satan starts. He starts with your mind. Before you even kill the person, you contemplate it. While you contemplating, you thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how you're going to get away with it, how you're going to, that's where this all starts. You were jealous, hatred. It starts with the mind. So we have to be very careful of our thoughts because many of the commandments that we break before they're even broken, it was already manifesting in the heart and in the mind. All right, the 7th commandment, you shall not commit adultery. We should not violate the marriage covenant that we make with our spouses. Lusting after someone else is not just having sex outside of marriage or marriage and sex with a married woman, but lusting after someone else is committing adultery in your heart. If you're lusting after another man's wife, you've already committed adultery in your heart. For example, pornography, strip clubs, going to strip clubs, watching pornography in movies and music. And fornication is also adultery too. Sitting around having orgies with other people, what they call it a menage a trois, even if your husband and wife consent to it. Spiritual adultery is worshiping other pagan gods, celebrating holidays, going to see psychics or mediums, adhering to or following horoscopes, going to magic shows, which is witchcraft. Those of you who are part of a sorority fraternity, if you're part of a fraternity or sorority, you need to denounce it because you're breaking the 1st and 2nd commandment. You're honoring other gods. And lust is a big issue going on right now in society because it's everywhere on all the TV shows, Empire being one, even preachers of LA. We see it. Lust is a very strong demon, and it comes in many different forms. So if you're, a lot of people interact with husbands or wives on Twitter, Facebook, and they're inappropriate. If someone is married and you know they're married, you have to be careful how you interact with that person or the things that you say or how you carry yourself on social media, because a lot of marriages have ended because of Facebook, Twitter, because they said something that was inappropriate. I've had people, and I'm not married, but I've had people inbox me that I knew was married, telling me how beautiful I was, and they're married. And I'm unfriending you immediately because, first of all, you're out of order and you're disrespecting your wife and you're disrespecting yourself. So you shouldn't be entertaining other people. Just be careful when people are doing a little bit too much on social media. And the 8th commandment, you shall not steal. So stealing means we're not taking things that don't belong to us. Thieves, con artists, cheating customers, paying taxes, borrowing, not paying back, billing, or charging more than what services are worth, or not working at your job, distorting tithes from the people, what they do from the churches, stealing other people's work. A lot of people steal other people's work and then put their name on it, taking things at work without permission. Oh, this pen, I want to take this, and it wasn't given to you. Or, like I said, making an agreement or a covenant and not returning it. If you're not able to, then you let that person know the reason why. And then we're supposed to honor the works of our hands, getting paid equal measure for equal pay. You should not be working at your job and then they tell you, oh, well, your check is short. Wait a minute, my bills are not short. My bills are not going to stop because you messed up on your end. You should be cutting me a check. I shouldn't have to wait another 2 weeks for time that I've already earned. So those are ways that you can steal. The 9th commandment, you should not bear false witness against your neighbor. And bearing false witness means to lie or join others to lie on someone. Again, spreading rumors that are untrue, or that you're repeating things without knowing anything about the matter. Deceitfully or subtly telling something about a person to change or to coerce the way that they feel about someone. You don't like somebody, so now you're getting ready to go tell somebody a lie about somebody so you can get everybody else to join up with you to come against somebody else. The Most High is very serious about bearing false witness and being a false witness. He says, if you have an ought against your brother, you go to them. Don't go and gossip and talk about them and get everybody else against them, especially when you don't know if it's true or not. Because the perception about a situation, your perception might be wrong. And now you don't went and gossip and you don't turn everybody else against them and you don't find out that you're wrong. And now the character of that person has been assassinated. And people do it all the time on Facebook, Twitter, Whitney Williams, rumor has it, they gossiping and telling everybody's business, and they don't even know if it's true or not. And many of us, and myself included, have done this where you said things about people and you don't even know if it's true, and now everybody going around gossiping or talking about this person or turning their hearts against someone, and it's false because you don't even know anything about it, and then it comes out it's not true. So it's some things it's not our business to talk about. And Yah speaks about the tongue and how it sets a little world on fire. This little thing sets the world on fire. The last one is the 10th commandment says, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. So we shouldn't be wanting or desiring things that don't belong to us. We should not be excessively or improperly craving things that belong to someone else, especially someone else's spouse. It's coveting. You know, it's an immoral longing for something that is not rightfully yours to want or to have. And many have done this. Coveting, this 10th commandment leads to the breaking of all the others. Murder, lying, adultery, bearing false witness, because you have this strong desire for something that's not meant for you. Oh, I want what somebody else have. Oh, well, she got a house, and let me go get me a house. Now you sitting over here in debt because you try to keep up with the Joneses. She can't afford it, but you can, but you're not going to let her outdo you, so you can ready to go put some money down on a house that you can't even afford. Wanting somebody else's husband or wife, you know, they get into an argument, now he in your ear. Well, I can treat you better. I can't believe he treated you like that. Next, you try, now what are you doing? Now you over here plotting on how you can be, you know, how you can get in. Trying to monopolize off of a situation. So we should not be wanting things that don't belong to us and lusting things. It's really greed. Coveting is really greed. You know, whatever the Most High has for you, it's going to be for you. And in Romans 7:7, it talks about Paul said he didn't know sin, but by the law. And that lust is coveting. Lust is coveting because it's most of the time it's something that is not for you, and you see it. You know, that's why he said the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh and the pride of life. That's what's in the world, lusting after your eyes. You see it, now I want it. Maybe it's not meant for you to have it. So with that being said, that is the end of the mini lesson for today. I went a little bit longer, and I'm going to bring in our special guest. Is Perry Michelle? Are you on the phone? Are you in?
I am on the phone. He'll be on in just 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay, hi. Well, why don't you introduce? Thank you for coming on, Michelle, at such
that ain't right.
Short notice. I was trying to fill in a little bit because I knew you guys would be coming in later. So just introduce yourself and to everyone, kind of tell how we met, and you can go ahead and start. I see he's on now.
He's on the line. Go ahead.
Okay,
Hi,
I'm on the line.
Sabbath Shalom, Perry.
Sabbath Shalom.
Sabbath Shalom.
How are you?
I want you to introduce. I want you to tell how you came about.
Okay, my name is Perry Gill. Just a quick background. How I came into the truth at the time, I was actually in the military. Went to the military in 2007 and had a lot of challenges. Yahuwah brought me through a lot. Started opening my eyes up around 2010. Was going through some trials with my family, and I was just tired of feeling like a defeated Christian, if you would. That's how I grew up. I was raised a Christian, different churches, and I'm running around trying to find answers and couldn't find any. And the more I prayed and the more I sought, he started dropping in my spirit about the Sabbath, and I kept running across videos regarding the Sabbath. And the more I looked and the more I started searching, the more I realized that that's what we was going off at. And I said, well, if that was wrong, what we were coming up with all this time, what else was wrong? And so the more I started searching, the more I started looking, he started uncovering different truths as far as the Sabbath, which was, like I said, number one, the feast days and the dietary laws. And that's really how I went out. But like I said, me and my wife was having some issues. So when I shared with her the information, she wasn't readily accepting, rather. And she started doing a lot of studying, not to, comply with what I was telling her, but really in an effort to prove me wrong. And the more she studied to prove me wrong, the more he showed her that I was right in what I was telling her.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning of our journey. And we kept the Feast of Tabernacles that year. I had to find some individuals to fellowship with, and actually flew out to Tucson, Arizona. And the first Tabernacles we kept, we were all up in the luxury hotel with the swimming pool and everything like that. But it was temporary. It was temporary dwelling. But the more we did it, the more we kept His commandments, the more understanding He has given us. Just like it says in His Word, that a good understanding have they that do His commandments. So I just praise Yahuwah for the opportunity to learn His law and to be a positive impact for our brothers and sisters out here in the land. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Michelle, you want to chime in and tell us what it was like for you when he first came to you with this truth?
Okay. Yeah, I guess what I was going to say pretty much what he said as well. But I had grown up, my grandma was an example. Well, actually, both my grandmas, they worked in as far as knowing the father's name and everything. But my grandmother, she kept Sabbath. Because first she was part of Seventh-day Adventist and all that, and she was going to Sunday service, but she always kept Sabbath. You know, she wasn't eating pork or none of that stuff. And she couldn't really read. And so I would be at her house, have to stay there, and, you know, I would see the life that she lived. So it wasn't foreign to me about the Sabbath. You know, the Ten Commandments she used to have on the door. And, you know, when you had to come up, as soon as you come up to her door on the porch, there they were, you know, different scriptures on the door. So, but as he said, I wasn't trying to hear what he was saying. You know, I'm like, okay, if this is what's going on, how is it you getting truth, whatever. So as I continue to look, you know, Yah continued to reveal himself to me. I am convinced that this way is the right way. And I'm thankful, you know, for him. And you know, it's like a car riding down the street. You know, you get a new car. You ain't see any, you know, before you got the car. Then every few miles, you see another car and another one and another one. And there was so many people whose eyes it seemed like were being opened to the truth. It was like, wow. It was like an explosion. At one point on Facebook, all these people, I'm on the phone. Yes. All these people, you know, were coming and say, wow, everybody's waking up to the truth. You know, Facebook kind of dwindled down, you know, but we see, even as we've traveled to a few places and see people that have been in this walk for some years, and having land, and we want community, and, you know, to just get back to our roots. So it's been a blessing, and I praise y'all, you know, for showing my family favor and all of his people favor to be able to hear, you know, and move, you know, because we can't do anything unless he calls us. And we thank you. I thank him that he has called us to hear, move, and do.
Okay, I'm going to put you everyone in the queue because some people probably have questions, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And let me see here. If anyone has questions for Mr. and Mrs. Gill, or you have any questions or comments about today's show and the lesson, just press *6 on your phone, and it'll put you in the queue, and then you'll be able to ask any questions or make any comments about anything that you heard today. Prina, do you have any questions while we're waiting? Any comments?
Yes, I just have one for Mr. and Mrs. Gill. When I know I was working on Mr. Gill and you separately. So how were you dealing with the children in the midst of all of this? Like, were you teaching them the truth? Was your husband teaching them the truth, or did you just have an agreement to teach them together, or how did that all come about?
I wasn't.
Children are in truth too.
Okay. He mainly teaching them truth. One thing about me, if you can show me, well, let me just, can I just say something real quick? When we were, before we got married, you know, I would say different things or do something, and he would bring the word. If you can bring the word to me, I don't argue with the word. Argue. You know, I might not like it, but I'm not going to argue with it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I was like, okay, show me. So I'm digging. You know, and he come back, and if I can see it, there's nothing for me to say. I can't go against it. So the kids have to line up. You know, I wasn't gonna go against him. Say, no, we just gonna go to church and all that stuff. No, so everything stopped. I was listening. He listening. I'm looking. He's studying. I'm watching. I'm looking. I'm praying. I'm like, okay, hopefully, we're not being led astray. But as the more and more you dig and pray, then he gave peace in the midst. So, no, we didn't have a division, of the kids doing one thing because this is what they were used to versus, the new truth.
Okay. Okay, is there any other questions? If anyone has a question or a comment, again, press *6 on your phone now, and you can ask Mr. and Mrs. Gill a question if you have a comment about today's show. I was just getting ready to ask you, and I think you kind of answered it for me as far as, was it hard for you to submit? Because we do know, the role and the order of Yah and submitting to our husband, and was that difficult for you to continue to submit while you were, because really you had to just trust him and trust, like you said, that you didn't know, like you said, you were being led astray. Was it difficult for you to submit when he came to you? Did that affect your marriage in any way? Because I was married before, and I was married for 12 years, and I came into the truth of the word. It was the exact opposite. I came into the truth of the word, and it was just completely opposite. He thought I was in a cult. I mean,
I believe it.
It was arguments every day because he wanted me to continue to go to church on Sunday when the Most High told me to stop. He wanted to continue to bring pork in the house and, eat those things. But then when I showed him, then he said, okay, well, what does it say? You can't eat pork. It doesn't say you can, we can't eat pork, because it was overwhelming at first because it was like everything was coming all at once. You can't do this because we was like, oh, we can't eat no more catfish, no more shrimp, we can't. It was too much for him because I'm the kind of person, if you show me the truth, then I'm going to walk in it. And he was the kind where he was coming kicking and screaming, and ultimately it destroyed our marriage because he refused, he didn't want to walk in. He didn't want anything to do with this. And so that's why I was asking, did it, have an impact on your marriage in any way or affect it because of him coming? And it's a good thing that he came into it.
Right. Yeah.
Mine was the other way around.
So I know that was extra difficult, for the man to follow, the wife and saying that you got truth before he get truth. I think the submission is for submission. I have issues. I am so much better. So submitting in the midst of what I consider a mess, it was a lot, but I didn't want to go against the word because I love, I wouldn't call him Yah at the time, but I love him, more so than my flesh to buck up against him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be speaking against him. I don't want to be speaking against Yah. I don't want to be speaking against him. I want to go, and then I got to get punished because of this flesh thing that's going on, Right. I was just trying, I'm like, if we're going wrong, show us, show him, because he's the one that he came to me, with it. But I need you to show him if this is not the way we should be going. But I'm not going to just up and buck against him when very well, this could be true. Because he was really digging in, searching and reading. So I was watching what he was doing. It wasn't just like, okay, he just opened the Bible every once in a while. He was really digging. And then I was looking and hearing what he was saying. But it wasn't always easy on my flesh, but I wasn't going to buck against it because I didn't want to buck against Yah.
I want to chime in real quick. Can you hear me? Okay. Regarding submission, I believe that that's something, whether man or woman, it takes a daily effort, whether it be the woman submitting to her husband or the man submitting to the Most High. I believe that that's something that you constantly have to work on and always take into consideration, your actions, is it in line with the will of the Father, or is it in line with the direction that my husband is taking? I mean, it's all it's nobody has it down. I don't think I've met any woman, that anybody would call virtuous that still has the submission thing down to a T. But it's a daily work, a daily effort, and I think that we can all do better in that area, whether it be submission to the husband or submission to the father. So, I just take that into consideration as well, the human element, if you would, that we're trying to get past.
I agree.
I agree.
You're right.
Okay, do we have any other questions? This is the last call for questions or comments about the show. You have to press *6 on your phone. And at that time, you can ask a question if you have one for myself, for Prina, or the Gill family. Okay, well, I don't think we have any other questions. Prina, do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, it's just a blessing to see other fellow believers like Mrs. Gill and then the other family, a blessed soul, hip hop name, but just to see a family unit coming together and serving the Most High Yah and turning their children to the way of the Most High, because these are where the generational curses have started, and that's with the family unit. When we sin as a parent or a family in whole, we put those sins on our children, and that's how these generational curses are, passed on. So it's a blessing just to see the Most High Yah opening up eyes to family members that's going out and restoring the covenant.
Okay, I agree. Okay, well, I know you guys have had a long day, and we want to thank you, Michelle and Perry, for coming on and sharing your testimony. We like to have families on here as well, coming on sharing their journey, because new people, they're coming in and listening. A lot of times they see and hear the picket, fence image of how things are. And sometimes you do need to know we struggle. But, it's an everyday battle, like Perry said. We're all striving for the mark, but the thing is you want to continue to make sure that you're on the right path and that you're progressing and you're moving forward.
Right.
In this walk. So with that being said, we're going to have Prina, and Brother Perry, can you lead us? Because I like when you pray. You come to our conferences. Lead us out with a prayer, and Prina's going to end us with Chronicles if it's not too much to ask.
No, that's not a problem. I can lead us out first. Hold on a second. Let me stop the car real quick. Our hearts and minds clear. Abba Yah, we thank you and we praise you for this opportunity to come and share and fellowship. We thank you for your Sabbath. We thank you for your law, statutes, and commandments that guide us into all truth and light. Father, we pray that you will wash us and cleanse us, and that you will give us one heart and one mind to serve you with one consent, and that if there's any leaven about us, we pray that you will remove that now, Father, that you will lead us and guide us by your Spirit, and that you would give safe travel to anyone who is traveling on today, that you will continue to open the eyes of your people, and that we will be effective ministers of your word to wake up our people. We give you honor and we esteem your name, Yahuwah, because you are indeed worthy. In Yahushua's name, amen.
In Yahushua's name, pray. Okay, Prina, thank you, Perry.
No problem.
And thank you, Michelle, for both of you coming on short notice and sharing your testimony with our audience. Thank you.
No problem. We thank you. And thank you for even wanting to hear our testimony. Praise God.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Prina, do you want to end it?
Yes. Okay, and I'm going to read 1 Chronicles chapter 29. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, Blessed are you, O Yah, the Most High of Israel, our Father forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the high esteem and the victory and the majesty. For all in the heavens and in the earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom, and you lift up yourself to all as head. And the riches and honor come from before you. And you rule over all. And in your hand is power and might. It is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now, our Most High, we are giving thanks to you and giving praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, the Most High of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers, keep this forever for the intent of the thoughts of the heart of your people and prepare their hearts towards you. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
Okay, Yeshua's name. So we want to thank everyone for joining us today. Make sure that if this show was a blessing to you today, that you share it with family members and friends, those who are seeking the truth of the Father's Word. Every Sabbath, every Saturday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And may Yah bless and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you all and give you peace. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. And we just say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.